Alright. Hey everybody. So, today we'll be doing something a little different than we have been doing lately. Turn this music down. Alright, so today we had, Sean and Nick and I had a conversation where we discussed several ideas for what we want to do in terms of our newbie art here. So what I'm going to be doing today is just kind of roughing it in real quick and making small adjustments to see if the scale starts to work better for us. And then, yeah, we'll make determinations, and then if we like where it's going, we will make the adjustment, or I'll make more permanent structures. So what I'm going to do, while I'm waiting for everyone to hop in here, is I'm going to move Wormsbane. And where did... Hold on, I need to figure out where they put the toggle for volumes. Why can't I turn that on and off? This is always the fun part of bouncing between upgrades, is stuff changes. You have to figure out how to do everything all over again. Why am I not seeing? The volume for this popping up. Come on, Unity. Work with me. Where did they move this to? It should be it. Wormsbane. And that. Okay, so it's tied to zone lines. Alright, let's not do what I was just about to do. Oops. Let's attach these. No. That's better. Okay, so we got that, and let's grab that zone line. Again, very kind of rough idea of where we wanted it. So... there for now. And I'm gonna save because my terrain here can get a little funky and cause crashes, so better be safe than sorry. And let's grab Polybrush. And Which one is it that I want? Developer settings. It's been a bit since I've used this. I'm trying to remember. Y-axis. Is there a flattening mode? I could have sworn I had a flattening mode in here. Or an averaging. No edges. Where did this go? That is textures on mesh. Scale prefabs. Vertex color. Smooth geometry. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. And let's bring up the radius on this. Is that really the max? I could have sworn I had this larger earlier. Oh, there we go. Alright, that's more like it. Go with 25. Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to paint some of these out for now. And then kind of go back in and do some of this later by hand. But for now, this makes erasing everything this way easier. Although I thought... Sort by Y. There we go. That's what I was looking for. So we'll just flatten this back out somewhat. I'm going to have to move this part up, so we want a little bit of elevation towards that side. Flow a little bit there because I shifted a dune. Oop, that one I don't want to do. Let's back that up. There we go. And I could have sworn I muted this 2 seconds ago. So how's everybody doing this morning, or afternoon, I guess, at this point in my time? Oh, very good. Alright, so we got that. Let's increase this for now. mixing it too much. This is probably part I'm going to do by hand, I guess, more. Because polybrush is a little limited in what it can do. Yeah, let's bring that back. So, let's bring in some new shapes. Make sure I have the same height. Yeah, it's probably the same height. And move this off here. And bring that up. So the idea is, if we like this, that this is going to be a more broken up wall sections like this. But for the roughing in process, I'm just going to start by just simply blocking in with a big box, and then we can break holes in it. Yeah, I'm definitely going to want to flatten that out. Let's try it this way. My only hesitation right now is I know Pro Builder is really not great at selecting these and then not selecting faces somewhere else. So it looks like it's good. So maybe it'll be nice and let me actually do what I want to do. Larger area. Still not messing up. Looks good. Okay. Something more like that, and then oops, helps if we actually click on the widget. Move that up. Again, shape is kind of really not being dialed in right now. I'm just trying to get the rough idea in at this point, so this will probably be shaped differently, but this is about where we wanted this. So maybe this wall will bump up into this kind of elevated region, and then maybe it'll have a wall up on top too, potentially. We'll see. Yep. Hey guys, how's everybody doing? See Keith and Durgoth and Hekon. How are you guys all doing today? Let's see. Move that. Good. How was everyone's 4th? Mine was pretty enjoyable. Just hung out at my parents' and had a cookout, and that was about it. Nice and relaxing time, to say the least. Oh, Nick, thank you for 6 months. Appreciate it. Looking forward to a distracting M&M stream. Been a rough day at work, having to plan for non-trivial layoffs. Oh man, that is never fun. Yeah, it sucks. I do not. I'm trying to think of the word I'm trying to use. I do not. Oh my god, why am I blank? My vocabulary just went completely out the window as I'm trying to like think. But yeah, I think you get what I'm trying to say, but my brain and my words are just not functioning right now. But I do not envy that. There's the word I was looking for. That situation. Words, yeah, I know they're super difficult. I think being a teacher, I would be better with them. Nope. Definitely not the case. English is both my first and worst language. Mine too. It's also my only language. Minus like a couple of curse words and stuff that I know in other languages. Oh, let me turn this fan. My room's getting stuffy with this window closed so you guys don't hear the traffic roaring. And this computer tends to get a little warm when it's not cold outside. Alright, so essentially what I'm just going to be doing right now is just kind of blocking these areas. And these walls, will, the idea is these walls would be more broken up. But right now I'm just trying to make sure I'm at the right scale. Try to do this without touching the ones that are currently snapped to the walls, because I don't want to screw them up, but those will eventually need to get changed too. But it'll probably look a little funky around the wall for a little bit, because I don't want to take the time right now to fix the holes that I'll create otherwise. Alright, so we got that. Wanted to thin this out a bit. And get a good angle on this. Is this the new Wormsbane entrance? So this is, again, what I'm doing is just kind of roughing this in. We potentially, we had a discussion today, and we potentially might put Wormsbane just inside Shaded Dunes, but we wanted to try this with it inside the Newbie wall, the walls of the Newbie zone. But we're playing around with a couple ideas, but this is the one that we kind of locked in on to try first, so we'll see how it turns out, and if we want to make any changes to that. But essentially the idea is we're going to slim this area out. I'm going to put a little bit of a curvature into here as well, and then we're going to box in this area with kind of more of a broken wall effect, kind of like over here. So it'd be constructed up of kind of like ruined walls. They won't look exactly like this wall, but essentially, you know, kind of broken up space. Going through there would get you into Shaded Dunes. Potentially, we played around maybe the idea of Shaded Dunes would be this portion of the zone line, but we've also talked about potentially this is the Newbie yard. This area is also part of Night Harbor. It's just kind of a slightly higher area. And then, you know, zoning west of this line essentially would get you to Shaded Dunes. So, playing around with that currently. But yeah, Wormsbane essentially, with the idea currently, would be over here. And then we want to kind of light it a little bit differently so that it kind of, you know, draws attention to itself. And then there'd be ruins more kind of in this area. And potentially scattered into the Shaded Dunes areas a bit. Actually, we want to get rid of these, so I can just delete those. And then I'll just move those in just for now, but those might get deleted as well. Well, I mean, all of these cliffs are probably going to get deleted and moved around and fixed later. They're right now really just kind of there to give the idea of what the place could look like. And then I also need to make a rough out of Fallen Watch, so we have something over here again, because when I deleted the old blend file, it took that out. So I'm just, actually I'll do that right now. Let's grab a, because this won't take too long. Let's make a box. 10 by 10 by 10. Just deleting things all willy-nilly, yep. It's been understood that this is what was going to happen for a while. I just hadn't touched any. I hadn't touched this area really because we didn't have. We hadn't actually talked about exactly what we want to do. So we at least now have kind of like a strategy on what we want to attempt, and then we can see how it's working and make decisions based off of that. So I will essentially make a quick representation of what whoops, let's snap everything. Stop it. Let's save before I screw this up. Save. And then we'll snap that to the foreground. There we go. Did you feel like you need a mental break from Night Harbor City Blockout? It's been quite the project so far. Yeah, there's definitely been times, but there's also so much to do. Like, moving around to different areas sometimes is enough of a palette swap to kind of cleanse the palette, per se. Also, Zukin and I have been, I don't know if he's mentioned it on his stream. I haven't been able to catch his full stream since we talked about it. We've been talking about playing around with some of his personal art projects that he's done, and done on stream a little bit too. And do like a little fun collaboration thing on the side when we need a distraction. So we might play around with some character models and environments and stuff like that, just to have something else once in a while to stream on off nights. But stay tuned to that. We'll see how that ends up going. But yeah, sometimes you definitely do, like, if you're focused on something for so long, you need some kind of palette cleansing creative outlet. Again, I'm just kind of willy-nilly right now blocking this in, kind of based off of the geo that was here initially. We'll have to get Goblin 2 concept, what this could actually be in the end. Oops, that's way too large of a snap. But the reason I'm doing this is just because it's been something that we've been wanting to address for a while. And with some of the content going on, our content implementation going on, this will allow us to get a better feedback on what everything's going to look like in terms of the zone layout. And be able to kind of give Nick and Sean something more accurate to work with when they are blocking stuff out, so we can get a more genuine feel on how things are. But again, I'm not really worried too much about how this is looking. I'm just trying to give an interesting kind of silhouette off in the distance. Let's reset the pivot for this. Okay, that needs to be larger. Have you noticed, Keith, on stream or on any of the streams, if you haven't seen the levels of what the levels of the ruffians are, curious how much danger they'll really pose? I know what their levels are. I'm not aware if I'm supposed to say, so you won't be getting the secret out of me, but I do know. I may have /statted them when I first noticed them when I was running around. Why did I capitalize the O in Geo? There we go. Okay. So... yeah, that looks super tiny. Yep, that did not like that. Oh, come on, Unity, work with me. Center? Is this gonna work? Nope. Nope. There we go. Give it some more depth to play with the lighting. Ah, helps if you're in the right mode. And snapping on helps also. And again, I'm completely just playing around with random shapes here. There's no design behind this. This is one of the things we need to get Goblin to rough out a concept for us. So we'll call that what we want, and then let's grab a new shape here. Oh, helps if I can select the edge I want. Thank you. Probably should actually move that over here. Although at least for now we won't be seeing detail on this. Just make it look a little bit more believable. Again, real rough, but it's so far away also. This is really just a facade. And a rough one at that. Get pulled down a bit there, and then let's grab this. There. And I apologize. I'll get back to chat in a second. I'm doing a real awesome job today keeping up with you guys. I see it like spamming off in the corner of my peripheral vision, and I'm just sitting here like, oh, I'm just gonna keep building out this spot. Let's see. He may not be the best source of any level mob is a danger to ranger. I don't know why everyone thinks rangers die. We don't die. Speaking of rangers, let's see. Work on the layered texture has me super hyped for some proper ranger armor, mix of leather and chain. Oh, I know. I'm right there with you, Durgoth. I was so ready when Goblin started working on the class concepts to be like, nope, needs more layers, needs more chain underneath. Something, you know, say exact same thing you just said, and then he just got it, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess I don't need to throw my 2 cents in, because I'm all about the layered look for rangers as opposed to just purely leather or purely chain or something like that. I like the mixture. I feel like that's where rangers are the rangeriest. I just made up a word. I'll main some combination of cleric and ranger, so mixed armor aesthetics is really appealing for sure. I also like the mixture with the cleric and the plate and the cloth playing off each other. So is the fortress thing you're blocking out going to be content POI of some kind? Yeah. So let me save real quick. If we hop back into the old Shaded Dunes version of the zone, which I clearly have not opened on the newest since we've updated the engine, so it's not in my most recent viewed. Shaded Dunes. Come on. You can see I was actually pretty close to where it needs to be. Sean had this facade for it a while ago, so I just scaled it up a little bit, and have added some more, you know, visual towers and stuff like that to kind of attempt to see if it catches the light better. But in the editor, you don't get to see it as well because it hits the clipping plane. But in engine, you can kind of just see it up there. And we were talking about potentially having like green lighting or something like that up to kind of really pull in your eyes. I guess kind of more like Minas Mogul in the Lord of the Rings movies. So like lights or potentially like clouds swirling around it or something. But kind of get you that point of interest. Like, ooh, there's something over there. Actually, it was one of the first things I saw when I switched over from watching the dev interviews to catching one of the streams, like the dev streams for Eminem. Just before, well, actually, when I found out that they were looking for 3D artists, but I saw that out on the kind of precipice of that cliff. I was like, oh man, I kind of want to go explore that. Like, it's one of those nice, subtle, just level design things where you're like, ooh, I'm going to allude to something that's going to pull your attention. And that's kind of also what we're attempting to do over here now with Wormsbane the Wormsbane entrance. Again, both of these need to be like fully concepted. We need to figure out what they're actually going to look like. But right now, they're just, you know, the Wormsbane concept is super, super placeholdery. Like, I just dropped a box in and then put this like entranceway in, was just kind of playing around with like a little bit of like how do I want to do that type of thing, and then I just made it a little bit more not a box by adding in an angle, which I guess kind of could be reminiscent of a dragon's head, but not really, not as much as like the Fallen Pass one over here will be. But yeah, I was just kind of playing around with that. But this, you know, same idea, is just a placeholder to have something there, and we know we need to expand upon the idea and what it, you know, actually is going to be. But it's also a zone, so you will go into Fallen Pass, and then this actually needs to be reworked. I apparently have caps on. Where did I put it? Is this it? Here we go. So this is the facade for the zone that essentially this is sitting in front of, which is more, it's like a kind of like a valley. I don't think we've been in the zone on stream in forever, but essentially it's kind of like a valley. Ooh, I need to fix that because this has a giant hole in the bottom or the backside that's gonna cause shadow issues. So let's bring back some of these, and I'll just use them for now. To attempt to cover up this hole. Ah, just gonna grab the right angle. Yeah, something like that. But yeah, now it looks more like a canyon or a. But yeah, so basically you'll go through a dragon, like a stone dragon's head, through into Fallen Pass, which is another zone, and then you fight your way up through it to get into Fallen Watch. And I have some ideas potentially of what we might do with stuff like this, but because we have some starting shape language set up for some of the stuff for these guys, but we'll see what Goblin comes up with as well. Actually, why don't I play with that? Just to see. Though I don't have my measurements per se set up. So we'll see how this works. And this is one likely going to break if I don't do that. Whoops. Oh, come on. There we go. But let me get back to chat because I'm pretty sure I'm pretty far behind. So, it's really quite impressive when you factor in the different skill sets needed to create a pipeline like that. Yeah, definitely. There's a lot that goes into this for sure. Yeah, the combination of tech and art for the system is really cool to see for sure. Yeah, definitely. I'm used to neglect perfect. Ship it. Isn't Rangers always die because Rangers purpose is high-end rating? Or isn't Rangers always die because Rangers purpose in high-end rating is to track and tag mobs and then die? Well, in Classic, Rangers were the death touch eating class because they were not in Classic really good at anything, especially like, you know, they were kind of a tank. I know in TLPs and stuff, I usually end up being a tank more than anything. When I am playing on a Ranger in Classic, because they don't get they don't shine DPS wise until Lukeland. But luckily, our Rangers are actually a bit OP. Currently, anyways. I'm sure we'll have some balancing tweaks, and they won't be quite as OP as they are, but. And I know like a lot of the low-level combat formulas we're in the process of tweaking to try to give a little bit more control. I could sit here tweaking this forever, but I'm already spending way more time on this than I wanted. So we'll move that for now. Let's bring it back to where it was just a tower. There we go. And back to chat. They also had the worst aggro dump of any class, so sometimes they'd get aggro from procs, and then with no good way to dump it. Yeah, hold on. Bards not bards. Yeah, until they got Jolt, Rangers are really great at grabbing aggro. They're not so hot at dumping it until, what, in the 50s, I think is when you first get Jolt. Once you get Jolt, though, a Ranger should never get aggro unless they want aggro. It's pretty easy to not have aggro as a Ranger. Monks could flop, rogues could evade or whatever. Rangers had Jolt, got resisted 95% of the time. Yeah, it did have it did get resisted as well, but still, it's pretty easy not to over aggro on a Ranger once you have Jolt. I mean, you might sacrifice DPS if you're using like Jolting Blades or whatever, which is the proc, but what was the other thing? Oh, Cinder Jolt was the one that really didn't have the issues with getting resisted, because I think it used fire resist as opposed to magic resist. That, and it was also around the time that Rangers started getting actual bow DPS, so arrows having like 0 aggro on them also made it pretty handy. You just gotta be careful stacking your dots and then nuking. But basically on a raid it was just like nuke, or at least I did it, it was just nuke and then Jolt after the nukes were on cooldown. So if I remember correctly, Cinder Jolt wasn't even that long of a cast either. But I could be wrong. It's been a bit since I've played that high up. And I haven't played the TLP in weeks at this point. I just haven't had the time. And I only got up to 40, but... yeah, I think it was Valius. That sounds correct. For Jolt. Valius or Kunark, one of the two. That said, nothing felt more badass than Flamelit snap aggroing. Oh yeah. I was still using Flamelick on live last time I was playing when I would attempt to grab it, like snap aggro in groups. Low cast time, low mana cost, huge aggro, awesome though. Popping weapon shield and saving raid. Oh yeah, that was always a ton of fun when a raid was wiping, especially if it was like really, really close to dying and a ranger like stepping in and snap aggroing and then weapon shield tanking it and then you win. Like that was always a like hell yeah, like I just did that type of moment. I'm trying to remember, I did that in time when we were first starting to clear it, and I can't remember who I did that to. I don't remember, but there definitely was time, and it was one of the harder hitting mobs. But I don't think it was Talon, because Talon has the nukes that I would not have survived. Who was it? I don't remember. It's been so long since I'm talking like back on Prexis, so like 2003, 2004 time frame. But I did it. We all did it on Valen in my guild. We had a ton of rangers in my guild. But we were in charge of kiting the clones, so we all played healer and weapon shield, tank, and kiter, and all that fun stuff. So we all MVP'd it at some point. That was one thing I loved about the ranger, is you got to do so much different stuff depending on what target you were on. Like between kiting or just DPS racing or rooting, or there's always like something different to do. Granted, a lot of times it was just DPS and kiting, but it's still a lot of fun. I'm kind of bored with the P99 classes. Looking forward to M&M to shake things up. 100%. What M&M Ranger combo rotation? What's the M&M combo or combat rotation is going to look like? That I'm not 100% sure on yet. That would be more of a question for Nick. I did a bunch of testing with the new combat stuff on like how Ranger, like we were all trying to solo and just kind of see what was going on with that. But I was doing a bunch of testing for like kiting and what was good strategies and stuff like that. And Rangers were pretty good at kiting from the beginning. I still kind of want us to be able to or have the kind of EQ-esque kiting where you can run around and shoot, but we don't currently have that, but we also currently don't have the double damage system that EverQuest did. We just kind of get double damage off the bat. So one of those things, like I'm willing to see how it plays out. Like, is standing still and shooting going to break that or not for me? I don't know. We'll see. But I do enjoy being able to actually like bow kite from level 1 and have it actually kind of like efficient. Right now it's probably a little overpowered, like I said, but it's one of those things we need to get the combat formulas, I think, a little bit more fine-tuned to give a little bit more wiggle room at lower levels, so they're not it doesn't makes all the abilities that you give at level 1 like way overpowered. But I found a couple good strategies already for at least Lobby kiting. Also was kiting with a Necro, so found some good strategies with that as well. Yep. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Again, not as sure because we don't have the ability to, at least again currently, to fire while you are running. Although again, it's fairly slow, or it's not like a real long downtime to actually fire. It's like 0.5 seconds or something like that. And the new auto fire the way we're doing auto fire as opposed to the way EQ did it leaves for some new tactics to kiting with the ranger, which I was trying out, which seemed pretty cool. When I first started trying them out, though, again, the combat formulas are a little funky at low level. So strike was really overpowered. Like when we first started doing it after the combat balance, we were all noticing that melee in general were a little overpowered because strike at low levels was brutally hitting. It was hitting super hard, but I think that's been toned down a bit since then, and will probably be further toned down. But it led to a really cool strategy for rangers. But at the same time, I don't want to give the strategies away. It's one of the things. I think it's fun finding those. And granted, I mean, you know, I might, what I was doing might not even end up being the go-to method of doing it, but it seemed pretty efficient. Panic animal, sick pet, then porcupine them. That's what I used to do in Vanguard. And then my ex-wife was playing with me, and she was a necro. And when she wasn't on, or when she was on, she'd be doing it, or I'd be boxing her necro, and I would just panic, or I'd fear with her necro, shoot with my ranger, sick the pet on it, and then the abomination necro thing would chase after as well. It was a super efficient way of kiting. It worked pretty well. Okay. I'm spending way too much time on this for something that's throwaway art. So let's just let's save. Anyways, I got a drop for a conference call. Catch you cool guys later. Oh, sorry, I probably already missed you, but if I did not, catch you later. What is stat tuning like in engines? Is it easy to change stuff and try out? I don't know about exactly how we go about all of that. For the most part, that kind of stuff isn't too bad, I don't think. But I don't believe that is something you do direct. Or no, you don't necessarily do it directly in engine. You know, you can compile it and stuff like that. But I think our thing is trying to get is to find the balance that we need to have the control over skills at low level that scale properly as you level. Because yeah, like I said, strike was, if it hit, if it hit, it was like a nuke essentially at low level. So it gave melee a heck of an advantage. Melee that had strike, a heck of an advantage. Alright, so let's do this. Let's add, if I can remember, it's been so long since alright, there we go. And let's open up our UV editor. And I'll make it the max scale I can using Pro Builder. Oof, God, I wish I could make that smaller. Let me see. 12 would be 6. Can I? Oh, nice. Apparently the update actually lets you make it, or lets you tile it even more. Because before I would break in the version we were using. 56. So what would that be? That would be 75, 78. Let's use 0.64. 0.64. Oops. Nice. Oh, that's so nice. That they actually... Wow, that is awesome. I didn't realize they'd fix that. That makes my life so much easier. And will give me less cleanup if I use Pro Builder stuff. Okay, so do that. Or does that actually look better without it? Awesome. Okay, so you got that. I don't have... a material for these, unfortunately. What do I want to throw on here? Alright, yeah, I'm just going to use this, what we're using for cobblestone. I'm going to use this purely because, it's going to pop and stand off the, this, because it's just a darker, so there'll be more contrast. So we'll use that for now. Nice. And then we were talking about lights and having a green light in here, so let's do that. Let's save this. And add in a point light. I don't know, let's try an area light actually. Scale it that way. I always forget what engine I'm in half the time. Alright, 20 or 200 by 200. Let's see how that fits initially. That is way too large. Why can't I... Oh, helps if I'm moving it. There we go. Let's try 150. 150. And which way is this actually pointing? I cannot tell. Alright, we'll have to see which way the light ends up going. We are going to crank up the intensity. It is facing downwards, so we will make it face upwards. Yep. Oh, I guess 270 because it apparently was weirdly placed. 40,000. We mentioned green, so for now it's green. Let's multiply that by 10. That's probably way too intense. We might tone it down. Range. Crank that up. And then let's try cutting that in half. Cool. Shadows on. Although shadows are not going to really do much because it's inside this, so it probably won't do as much as it could. And then this a bit. This is X, so 150. Nope. 50, not 15. Cool. Let's see if we can adjust this a little bit better. So maybe this goes to 35. There we go. Catch some more of those highlights. And then let's open up my I know. And Photoshop. Oops. That's not what I wanted to pull over there. This was. Okay. And try to select this again. This doesn't have volume metrics on it because it's an area light. So I think what I'll do is I'll try this for now. Let's actually, before I start doing that, let's just see how this looks in engine before I start trying to play around with semi-fancy, not fancy things. Speaking of music, yes, I'm still watching. Oh, not that. Okay. Run back over here. And this, and like the timing's actually kind of right. Once we've to answer your question, Queeth, we'll be adding light sources once we kind of have once I'm able to sit down and talk to John about the system that he has set up, and we have the radius stuff built in as well. Ideally, it'd be great to have them in here right now, but if we put in a bunch, there's going to either be there's either going to be no shadows, so there's going to be a bunch of weird issues with visuals, with like light bleeding through stuff, or we're going to completely kill performance in here. So until we have that set up, and then I'll do like a real quick lighting pass just to have some lights. Glad to see it's going to allow certain names. I missed that in modern MMOs. Yes, I do as well. So it's pretty cool off in the distance there. Although that second volumetric light is totally, or not volumetric, that it's going through the ground, so I need to dial that one in a little bit better. I'm not sure if we want that to be smaller, because I know I scaled it up a little bit. Wow, it feels so much closer than it actually is. That is really... Even this is still fairly large. So I think it comes down to just playing with the scale of it. We'll see what the team thinks. I may shrink that down a pinch. Because it just, I don't know, it feels like, granted, again, the scale here is pretty large. I think we timed it to about there. It's about 45 seconds. So the newbie yard is very large. In terms of newbie yards. But it almost... At the scale it's at right now, it almost makes it feel like it's making this area smaller, as opposed to being further back. But then again, once we delete some of this stuff and put shaded dunes back in here, we may end up having to slide that stuff back anyways, so maybe I'll just leave it for now. Yeah, let's try leaving it for now. Let's see what it looks like at other times of day. Set, help. So if I'm not, oh my goodness, time set. put a space where it's needed. So let's kind of get a quick preview of what this looks like as the sun comes up, and then we'll kind of pop around. Okay. PM. Yeah, you can't even really tell the lights on. I mean, you kind of can, but I don't know if it's necessary to tell in the day. My VP is indisposed to a conference call, got delayed. Back to M&M stream. Awesome. Welcome back. Okay, so we got that. Let's pop back over to Night Harbor. And we'll add in another light over here. So we're discussing that. Oops, that's right. And so let me forget what engine I'm in. Why do I keep saying I just did that? And source radius. Bring up the intensity. There we go. Oh, for a second there, I thought that was bleeding through. I'm like, what's going on? And I just realized it's the angle and the light catching. And then we've got a vertice popping through. Oh man, that terrain is lag inducing for sure. Oh. I may want to grab one of these and nestle this up against it. For now. Let's make sure it's not overlapping any of the areas we're running around. Cool. Much better. And then this light. You mentioned green, but I almost want to play around the blue that we have for the... Does that look evil enough? Blue. There we go. Cool. All right, we'll try that. Let's save. And let's also rotate this real quick. Lines. Just put that right up against that for now. Again, these are going to get broken up if we decide this is the scale we want it to be. And I'll fix this stuff later. Let's move these. Down a pinch. Those trees will need to get moved too at some point. Which I believe were for a image. I think Zukin placed those. I don't think I placed. I know I didn't place them. Move those up. So let's do something here. Let's turn off the water for a hot second. There we go. And we will clean this up a bit. Same kind of along. Oh, I'm gonna have to make that bigger. There we go. That edge was way too sharp for a coastline. So we'll smooth it out. Right there. Again, I'm trying not to hit the edges of these things because I'll clean those up later, but I'm trying not to put holes that people can fall through in the meantime. It's larger. Hey Goblin, how's it going? The one and only Goblin. What's on the menu today? So, this morning, Sean, Nick, and I did some discussions about the Newbie yard. So, I've been kind of roughing that in a little bit. And then I placed in some placeholder geo for Fallen Watch, since there wasn't any in this version of the zone. Which, by the way, I needed to talk to you about that. Super placeholdery. But we'll need to figure out what we want to do with the actual, like, design for Fallen Watch. I just put some... We were talking about having some green light and stuff like that coming off of it, and potentially, like, clouds and stuff swirling around above it. But, in the meantime, Where did my other light go? Ah, there it is. I just built this and did stuff to kind of play with the lighting a little bit and kind of catch some of this lighting. This is way too large. Let's go. Which one is this? 200. Move that over. And then let's grab these and pull them over here. So that'll be something we'll need you to figure out what exactly Fallen Watch is going to look like from above, and also what the actual Wormsbane entrance will look like. I'm assuming the two will be slightly slightly similar architecture-wise, since they're both Wormsbane structures, but we will have to figure that out. Very meanest mogul. That was exactly what I was going for. So, yeah, we were talking about, green lighting or something like that. So that was the thing that instantly popped in my head, was meanest mogul. Let's see if I can just move this geo to get rid of those weird spots that the area light's popping through. Like so. Cool. But yeah, so that stuff might also end up, getting pushed back and stuff like that. Because right now it's rather large. So I feel like it'll be pushed back in the distance at some point. For now, I'm gonna attach those lights to it. I'm sure I'll come back to regret that when I try to find them later, but yeah, so here I can pop back over. We need to look at the Wormsbane light anyways. Need some Black Riders flying around. Why is this playlist being weird today? There we go. So yeah, that's working. I think this needs a little bit more light in front, so I might duplicate that light, turn off the shadow, and just have a subtle light in the front. Although we had, like I said, we had mentioned potentially doing that one green as well, but I'm just thinking the flames in there are blue. So, granted, they're both undead, evil places, so maybe we want to tie those all into the same color, but we can make those decisions down the line. So let's fix this. Let's turn off shadows. Let's bring down the radius on this a bit, and the intensity way down. I'm trying not to lose like the shadows, so if it's way up, all these shadows are going to get blown out. Something more like that. Put this back a pinch so we get those shadows back, and then bring up that intensity a pinch. Bring up the radius so we don't have as big of a highlight. Because when the radius is lower, you get these like big blown out spots. So it kind of softens it and makes it more of a area as opposed to a pinpoint light. And let's disable volumetrics on both of these. Cool. See, I'm like half tempted to throw a light, like bring torches and stuff in there, but I'm like, no, that won't work. Okay, so let's sculpt some of this a little bit. Also, sculpt is not quite the right word for what I'm doing. It's more modeling it, but I'm just trying to get this to be more of a hard cliff side. Something like that, maybe? Except I'm probably gonna have to just, I may as well just merge these two. Like so. Hey Penis, Chet, how's it going? Hey John. Going pretty good. Working on roughing in the boundaries for the new newbie zone currently. Just got done putting a placeholder for Fallen Watch in the distance. Mouse just freaked out on me. Oops. Come on. Uh-oh. I have saved recently, so if it does actually crash on me, I'm good. But I totally thought that was what was happening there for a second. So I wish I could just max it out and then it would just go into a straight line as opposed to inverting, but unfortunately it doesn't do that. Cool. So for everybody who is popped into the stream since I just talked about it, we're going to be kind of walling in the newbie yard area, and then I'm probably going to cut off a lot of this on the end, and then we'll drop in the Night Harbor train, or not, Shaded Dunes. Is this the working one? Yes, it is. And that is 8. Oh no, I can't do that because it's not Pro Builder. Oof. So, yeah, this stuff is all going to get pushed back then. So this would be something around there. I'm going to have to edit. I'm going to have to go in and break up this terrain more because it's not going to work the way it is. But we can see that this all needs to move. So let's move that. Is this for local? Pivots. Global. There we go. So yeah, that'll be more back there. Am I grabbing the lights too? Because they really... Yes. Okay, the lights came along for the ride. That was exactly why I did that earlier, even though I was like, I'm going to regret doing that. I did not regret doing that. For now, I'm just going to throw a couple of these in here, kind of not worrying too much. I need to actually go back in and finish working on the cliffs at some point, so we can actually get the real cliffs in. Not that these aren't real cliffs, but like them broken up into more usable pieces and chunks. Yeah, nope. Grab that and that. And that. Oh shoot, that's what this was. That was this. And then this stuff would need to be adjusted. Let's get rid of some of these for now. Again, these things will get better placement later. This is just kind of try to get a visual. Because right now, this and this are overlapping, which this needs to be re-exported out. Oh, excuse me. Or actually, no. Shoot, hold on. Did I move all that stuff way too far? I think I did. I forgot I need to chop off a large section of, yeah. I screwed that up. Good thing I caught it, because that would have been a pain in my ass later. Cool. So, yeah, this would need to get cut, and then this will need to get cut, and then they'll have to be lined up eventually. And then that can stay there, I think. Let's turn that off. Why is that acting? Weird. Again, I'll worry more about it when I actually have the real stuff in here. Why is the material on this so shiny? Oh, it doesn't have the actual material on there. It's just what's on the mesh. Hold on, let's fix this. There we go. Much better. And then this would be primarily that. Which isn't going to give me much overlap because it's using world tiling, so even though they're kind of sitting on top of each other, it's using the world coordinates, so you actually don't see that there's a huge issue going on. Now, there's other areas in here you will see it, but like from here you won't see it. So yeah, it'd be something more like that. Now I'm going to save this real quick so we can see it. But again, I'm going to be bringing in a new placeholder version of this some point in the near future. Going great. Just realized how much I'm going to be disappointed if there is no great sandworm after rewatching Dune last night. I need to watch Dune again. I only watched it, I think, once. But I definitely enjoyed it. Alright. There's a lot of dead people here. I see dead people. Cool. And then this would be getting into essentially shaded dunes at this point. Now, obviously, our spawns and stuff are still using the old geo and the old nav mesh. I haven't updated it yet. Not that it's needed right yet, because I need to break stuff up. But people were asking about the nav mesh, so it's super. Super easy, so I can show that real quick. I don't think, let me say, I'm already saved, so when we bake it, granted I'm on my workstation, so it's fairly beefy of a machine, but it doesn't even take that long if I'm on my other machine. But yeah, it literally takes, you know, maybe 15-20 seconds to bake out this one. Worm's Bane is like instantaneous, which we were also talking about, how we want to potentially expand Worm's Bane, and add some like mid to maybe high level elements within it, while maintaining it being like a lobby dungeon, but have reasons for players to come back and stuff. So play around with that a bit. Potential multiple zone entrances and stuff like that, and some secrets and things for you guys to find and stuff like that. But yeah, that's, you know, essentially how fast it is. Oh, I need to make it so these are not part of our collision. Is it default no path? It's been a bit since I've done this. Yes, default no path. Because right now you can see that all this stuff is baked into the collision. Although some of this is going to need to be baked into the collision because it is going to allow PCs, or hold on, never mind, I want that. I don't want this, or no, I want all of the other stuff up here to be so from here to here. And then this one I actually want to be default. I want that to be, these are actual cliffs. Or no, actually no, I don't want these because I'm in Night Harbor. What am I doing? My brain is not functioning today. These are not, I'm not in Shaded Dunes. So yeah, default no path. And default no path. In Shaded Dunes, the cliffs will be, will have collision. There we go. Now let's go back and bake this one more time. but we're also looking into switching back to Unity's new navigation, I believe. So this whole process will change again, if that ends up being the case. Sorry, I know watching this progress bar, for 30, 40 seconds is really exciting. But this answers the question for how long it takes. I know it's also taking slightly longer than it normally does because I'm streaming, so 48 seconds is what it took. Cool. So that is good. This will need to get figured out in terms of, like, is there a wall here, up top? Let me turn off the grid. I need to figure out if this kind of higher ridge line, if it's going to kind of taper out more, if it's just going to be straight. And then there's going to be ruins, so there'll be ruins kind of interdispersed within this, and then I think they're going to kind of continue into this area. We talked about potentially keeping the entrance over here to what was Fallen Watch, and either having it as a linked dungeon or being the same dungeon with two entrances to two different spots. There's been all sorts of fun discussions this morning, so I'll have to play around with that, and I'm going to grab these trees that are just kind of chilling out in the middle of nowhere. And move them. I'm getting towards the end of stream, and I need to go run some errands, so I'm going to get headed out in a bit, but what I'll probably end up doing is working this coast a little bit more, so kind of getting this a little bit more of a nice taper, because right now it's just really tiny. Potentially put like a little dock or something off the side here, and thin this out a little bit more, so probably more of this will end up being underwater, and then maybe this will kind of cut into there a bit more, and then yeah, starting to rough in some ruins and stuff, figure that out, and then if we like where the size is here, I can actually start building in some of these walls and stuff over the next week, as well as coming back in here. I've been doing the window pass, so just kind of going around building to building and playing with where windows are for the various structures in here. So I need to finish off this part of the street and then get into these smaller little areas in the back, but these ones I think will have less windows just because they're smaller structures, but we shall see. Alright, let's see, what do we got going over here? Oh, excuse me. Imagine how long it would be or have been even 5 years ago. Watching the loading bar reminds me of my first job, where a big part of my job was just installing software on computers. Yeah, I've done stuff like that. I was a lab monitor in college. So there's one of the spots where we've got a bleed over that mesh is cutting off where that road is. So actually, this should be set to default no path, but again, I need to delete that for now, because I need to cut that geo out, and then I'll worry about it bringing the real one in. Cool. So I'm gonna call that, because like I said, I gotta go run and do some errands real quick. But thanks for hanging out with me, everybody. If anybody is new to the channel, we are working on an indie MMO RPG that is called Monsters and Memories. We're an indie team. The game itself is kind of rooted in the classic era of like the first generation MMOs. So if you think like late 2000s, or not late 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, somewhere around there, that's kind of what we're looking at. We have a Discord if you guys really have any questions or would like to just engage with the community. We've got over 1,100 people in there now, which is awesome. I'm, again, admittedly behind from working the last 2 weeks. Yesterday was kind of my pull myself out of the brief vacation I gave myself this weekend, and then with the holiday yesterday. So just kind of getting myself back up to speed. So if you want to hop in, all the team members are in there. We're really open to answering questions, as long as they're not like things that we're trying to keep secret that you discover during the game, that type of thing. A lot of lore and stuff like that. But yeah, feel free to join that. If you'd like to stay up to date with the game but don't want to join the Discord, use the link that I just put in for the mailing list. We'll send out surveys, things like that, occasionally. It's been a while since we've done one, but also it will be tied to testing. We're hoping to get some people in testing content with us, which is part of the reason, again, I've been focusing more on some of the content areas. Obviously, there's content going to be throughout this entire city, but we've been focusing this area more so than anything else, to get that kind of newbie experience stuff up and running. Although, again, there's newbie experience stuff throughout the city. There's also high-level content and stuff throughout the city. But anyways, I digress. We also have other team members that are streaming all the various aspects of the game. So if you haven't already, make sure to follow them to get notifications when they go live. My streams specifically are level design and environment art based. Zookins are character based or critter based. Goblins are concept art based. Sean does a little bit of everything. He'll show off everyone's work. He'll help block out zones. He'll help do animations, all sorts of different things. And then Nick does QA and design streams from time to time. We also have a YouTube channel, which I need to upload last week's and this week's. So hopefully I'll get those up tonight or tomorrow. If you are watching on YouTube, please remember to like and subscribe and comment below, all that stuff to help us out with the algorithm, so that we can get the game out to more people. We really appreciate the support. Also, if you are watching on YouTube and you'd like to participate in my streams live chats, always love seeing new people in here and answering questions and stuff, whether it's about the game or just game design in general and the tools and stuff we use. There should be somewhere in the comments below a link to my Twitch account, so just follow that link and then give a follow to Paytus the Ranger, and you should get a notification whenever I go live. Look forward to seeing you. The stream times for me are Monday evenings Eastern Standard Time at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If I could speak in proper sentence structure, that'd be beneficial. Again, back to the earlier in the stream, English is hard. And then so it's 8 p.m. Monday, Wednesday at 1 p.m. and then Friday it'll probably be a 1 p.m. stream as well. I've got stuff going on in the morning on Fridays for now. The Friday stream will only go up until my semester starts at work, so that's probably like a little over a month and a half away. So, but until then, I'll be focusing a lot on these regions of Night Harbor, like I have been. I have a feeling the Newbie Yard will come together fairly quickly. Maybe the ruins might take a little bit of time, just trying to figure out where the layout and where we want them and stuff like that. But yeah, and then kind of finishing out, this district area Probably focusing a little bit more back into Wormsbane because, again, we want to expand it. We got some ideas for other sections and things like that. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with me tonight, guys. I had a lot of fun. Hope you guys did as well. And I shall see you Friday at 1 p.m.